Notice is hereby given of a regular meeting of the Board of Directors of the District to be held at 105 Fort Road, Port Isabel, Texas on the 28th day of March, 2018 at the hour of 5:30 p.m. for consideration of the business agenda below. Notice is posted at the office of the District March 22nd, 2018 at 3:30 p.m. in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, not less than 72 hours prior to the time of said meeting. We have three directors, the vice chairman, and the chairman is not present tonight. So we do have a quorum. Could we please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Who's doing the invocation?
We ask that you be with the Lord as we make decisions that will affect the water district and public that we serve for. Just open our hearts, open our minds, so that we make the correct decisions. Let us be humble with everything we do. In Jesus' name I pray.
Amen.
Item number 3, invitation to the audience or anybody for public comments. Okay, there's none. Number 4, consider and discuss for possible approval the minutes of the workshop meeting on March 14th, 2018, and the regular meeting on March 14th, 2018. I move to approve both.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion passes unanimously. I've been asked to move number 8 up. Next, consider and discuss protocol for community notification when disruptions of service occur. Mr. Galvan?
I asked that to be put on the agenda, yes.
Discuss the protocol.
Huh?
And all I can say is that what we normally do is when I have things at work, we normally post on our website that information for everybody to see. Normally, it's usually that the office receives a phone call, and then from the office they call, they do a service order to go check, see what the problem is. And this happens maybe 3 or 4 times a week. So that's the procedure is that they call one of our servicemen to go out and check, see how big the water is it a private leak or a water district leak. Then from then on, we take action accordingly. And I know that I have the procedure is followed through with calling also the utility spotting. And if it's a major leak, then we kind of assess the situation, visually. And if it seems like it's like a valve that can be controlled, we normally go ahead and try to cut it off at that time, and then call Mr. Hoy Lopez. And what he does is, normally if it's a major leak, he calls Southside Island. He has like the administration, the city manager, assistant city manager, and possibly one of the and then major, and I'm talking South Padre Island only right now. But if it's other places, they usually put it on the website, and Jorge gives them the information, like, okay, it's a small leak or a large leak, and it's going to take 1 hour or 2 hours. And then we pass it on to our IT person, and he posts it on the website. It's going to take 6 hours, 5 hours. And I know Mr. Houston has requested as well. We need to know. The board needs to know. As soon as we have a major leak, for the reason that they call the board, the customers or whoever is affected, usually complain there's no water or what's going on. So, I know that he wanted that, and, we can do that. It's up to you guys, but, we can call you, call you and then, let you know, like, look at the website, we have the information ready for it, or we let you know.
Well, as far as my notification, I would like to see it on my text.
Okay.
Email, I don't check that often, and telephone, you know, if whomever, if Joel or somebody just, okay, we've got a major leak at this address, it looks like it's gonna be, we're gonna have to do this, this, and this, and this, and this. Just put it in a text and send it to me, and probably the rest of the directors also. But I'd like to go back specifically and run through that last incident on the south end of the island, because we had some problems in communication there. You know, I forgot completely about the spotting requirement before you had to go in, but could you start from when the leak was detected, or whomever wants to address it, and tell us using that as an example of the whole process again?
Okay, what normally happens is, the main office receives the call of a water leak. They send,
So you got a call this time from whom?
A customer.
A customer, okay.
somebody that saw
Well,
the
Wells
water
got the
leak.
details, let's get.
Let Joel.
Okay, that particular event, I got a call.
Joe, would you come up here to the microphone, please?
Yeah.
Okay, good afternoon, my name is Roy Lopez, I'm the water distribution manager for the Miramar Water District. On the day of that event, I got a call from, I get it, I'm just I think the maintenance manager for Isla Blanca Park. That there was water spewing over by Isla Blanca Park office where they registered for the trailer park. So I sent one of my guys out there to go check, and sure enough, by the time he called, it was getting close to 4 o'clock. Mr. Gomez and I went out there, and sure enough, that valve that blew just happened to be right next to a storm drain, and all the water was going into the storm drain. Okay? Had it not been for that storm drain, I think we would have had a good washout on the street, sidewalks and whatnot. It would have been a big, big issue for us. So at that point in time, Mr. Gomez and I went to pick up a hitch that I needed so I could pull a pump. At that point in time, I'll call South Padre Island, as I usually do when it's a big leak. I kind of try and give them a heads up a little bit. And I spoke to Victor, and I told him I need the, believe, code enforcement. He does up there with the restaurants. I normally give him a heads up to let him know, hey, this is going on, we might need to shut the water down. I don't know yet. We need to see what's going on. He said, fine. He ran off and did what he has to do. I did what I had to do.
At this time, you determined that there was a bad valve leak.
Yes, sir.
And you had a critical situation you were dealing with.
Correct. And in that area, and I'm doing a report right now that hopefully the board will look at here in the workshop that we'll have here in a couple of weeks, hopefully. I'm doing a report that basically from South Haas, or from Haas South, or Isla Blanca Park, it's such a spaghetti, and it's just a mess, that every single time we've had a leak on either of those lines, you had to shut down the island. It's just the way they're interconnected.
That south part of the island?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
South of Haas?
Correct. Correct. Now, what we did, and of course we need to follow procedure, it requires for us to wait 2 hours for the locate, which we did.
Wait 2 hours for what?
For the locate, the utility locate,
Okay.
by law. Once you call it in, they give you 2 hours, you gotta give them 2 hours to show up and mark. And sometimes...
Are they usually pretty good about that?
When it's getting close to 5 o'clock, not so good. Because normally I think they cut off like at 4:30, and then whoever goes on standby, he could be in Ghana, Mercedes, or be doing another locate for another utility, and it might take him some time to get to us. And that particular day, he got there relatively like within the 2 hours, muscle memory. And then sometimes, in order for it to get a proper locate, because there's fiber optic, there's all kinds of lines down there that we can make a bad situation into a real bad situation. If we pop a fiber optic, we pop a copper line, 1,500 there, not everybody's really gonna be upset. The whole island's gonna be more upset. If it's important to go, they're gonna be upset, they're gonna be there, whatnot. So sometimes, in order to get an accurate location of the lines, we need to shut down the water, so they can work properly. If not, we're digging blind. And once you locate, and you start digging, you take full responsibility of any damages that may occur. So, sometimes it cuts 22 for us. And part of my language is damned if you do and damned if you don't. And that's what we're at sometimes. And we understand what day it was. We knew what was going on. We knew it's spring break at full swing. And it's not something that we schedule. It's not something that we're doing out there doing work, that we popped the line. It's something that happened beyond our control, beyond anybody's control.
But at this time, you determined that the valve was leaking.
Yes.
And that you may have to take and shut it down.
Correct.
Off to the south.
Yes.
But you did what with that particular valve at that time? Were you able to go ahead and close it?
We started closing, we closed the 24-inch valve that's over here by Long Island Village. Then we have another feed source that goes into the island over the Queen Isabella. We need to control that, and if, once we shut down that one on Queen Isabella, and there are a couple more in Haas and over by the Wingstop, not Wingstop, by Wings T-shirt shop, then we can isolate that area. And that's what we did. We started kind of just benching valves, working valves, so we could just control the flow and not have the bad situation get worse.
At this time, what I was told was, when you came on scene, that there was such pressure coming out that the ground was vibrating.
Yes, sir. You could literally stand and see, like from here to the desk, and you could feel the dirt.
So the road was fixing to blow out.
Well, something was going to blow out.
I'm trying to understand the situation. A leak may be a leak, but if you're facing something more monstrous than that, that's what I'm asking.
Yes. There's an 8-inch valve that was having issues. It was leaking. It was throwing out water like crazy. You could hear the humming. You could hear it just real bad humming. And my assessment is, this thing can blow at any time. It can just go out. I don't know what's wrong with it. I don't know if it's bolts or the pipe or what.
So when you mean blow, you mean it could be
It
just lose water, or you can actually have shrapnel blow?
You can actually have shrapnel. We've had shrapnel, pieces of pipe blow out and whatnot in the past. It's happened. In my 23 years here, I've experienced a little of everything. So, at this time, I'm trying to keep everybody in the loop. I'm keeping people from the city of South Padre in the loop. I'm keeping Mr. Galavan, Mr. Gomez in the loop. Just trying, as we're making assessments, as things are coming, developing, I'm texting people, letting them know, okay, this is what's going on. This is what we can do.
But not while you're driving.
No, sir. No, sir. No. That's a sign. And let me just say, this is not the first time that this has happened. This is not the first time we've had this issue. But this is the first time it's become a real big issue. Okay.
The issue being that you had to leave, or you had to shut the line down?
It's not the first time we've had to shut down the whole island to do repairs.
Whole island or portions of the island?
There's been times when we shut the whole island.
Okay.
Shut the whole island. And this time it was a partial to the south. They had water to the north of Haas, but not so good, such good pressure, but should have been able to work with it. So, but like I said, this is the first time that it just got carried away, I think, in my opinion. Us trying to do what we could do.
What got carried away? I'm not clear.
Well, I started getting a lot of calls like, what are you doing? Why are you shutting down right now?
From who?
I'd rather not say right now, but it was from people on the...
Was it district staff?
No, sir. No,
Thank
sir.
you.
District staff knows that when we make a call, it's for a reason. We're just not going to shut down. We won't shut down. So as things progressed, as I said, I was texting South Padre and other people, our bosses, letting them know what's going on. At one point in time, we saw that we could control it, and we could do the prayer at midnight. I was asked by South Padre Island if we could do it at 2. I said, no. We're going to do it at 12. Reason being, because I don't know how long it's going to take us. Because by the grace of God, it took us an hour and a half to do the repairs. But, in the time that we shut down, where we could control it, we did a lot of prep work. We installed wall points, we installed lighting, we had everything ready to go once we did the shutdown, and we could start the repairs immediately.
I'm going to assume you made a decision to do it at 12 rather than 2 o'clock, anticipating if it took you 6, 8 hours, then you're going to be impacting
Exactly.
more people.
Exactly.
That's I'm not putting your words, but I'm,
No, that's
from what you're
exactly,
telling me, I'm trying to understand. And
that's
so
exactly.
that would be my logic also.
That was my thought process, Mr. Will. I understand fully the concept of South Padre Island being a tourist area, is a resort and whatnot, and they've got limited time to make their money, I get that, okay? It was my decision to go ahead and do it at midnight, and my recommendation to Mr. Delavan, and his blessing to do it at midnight, because I figured we do it at 2. By the time we shut down and everything gets going, 2:45, 2:30, 2:45, and if things don't work out the way they did, and we're still there at 7:30, 8 o'clock, and my constituents on the island, I gotta get up and go to work in the morning, don't have water, I think I'm gonna have a bigger issue with them than with the spring breakers. That was my concern. I need to take care of those people that live on the island, that they are billed every month. So that
The
was,
decision was based on the district's customers.
yes, sir, correct. So, like I said, everything was prepared, everything was good to go. Once we did the shutdown, we did the repairs, and by the grace of God, it took us an hour and a half. I think by 1:45, we're turning the water back on, if I'm not mistaken. And then we stayed out there until about 4 o'clock in the morning, backfilling, washing down the street, so avoiding kind of potential issues or hazards on the roadway. So it almost looked like nothing happened by the time the 8 o'clock came around.
Now, during this time, Carlos, there was some, obviously, lots of communication back from him to you, and I guess you to the operations manager, and then putting out the email or Facebook or whatnot. But at some point in time, there was a one of those notices was ambiguous, and it had a long period of time it was going to be shut down, like 7 to 7, and I mean there were some issues with the public notification, right?
On the website?
No.
Not on the website. There was calls. Well, I received a call from Mr. Stahl and Mr. Wells. They're going to shut the whole island. I said, oh, hold on. That's not the real case. You know, they hold on till I get more information, and I'll put it in the website and let you know. So by 7 o'clock, that's when we received the message of, okay, we're going to have to shut down Haas midnight, and then, you know, Haas to the south. There was a couple of more routes that we were going to close, and make the repairs starting as soon as the water shuts down.
Well, that was the afternoon that I got a text from a customer, and they said, what's happening? And I contacted you, and I'm assuming that came out from the city alert system, the residents.
If I may, I think what might have happened, this is just my thought process, when it went from me and Victor conversing to like, it may get shut down. Once a restaurant gets told, like, it's almost like when you sit around a campfire and you look for something
Well,
somewhere
I
here.
understand that, but I think we're looking for who initiated that response.
Social media.
Social media.
I believe
So
it was
they
social
just
media
were-
where, like I'm saying, a restaurant said, hey, you know, you get ready, because I spoke to Victor Balavinos about this. And he said, no, we told him it might shut down, but that's prepared. And the question to him was, oh, we're gonna have to close the restaurant. He said, no, you're prepared. We're not telling you to shut down. You have prepared. So I think it went from one restaurant being told that to like, hey, they're gonna close the water. The word may was never included in social media. And speaking with Victor, before I even put out the notice in text that we're going to shut down at midnight, they already being told we're going to shut down at midnight. And I said, Victor, that's hard for me to understand because I didn't include anybody from that organization. I'm just including 9 people. Nobody from there. So how they knew, beyond me.
So I liked the message to the website after we found out that I was out there about 6:30, and excavation was already halfway done. You could see the pipe where the water was coming out, so I was like, okay, it looks like they had shut the water, the valve, and then stopped the water leak from coming out.
So the
They were able
official, so the official notification was on the district website saying that at 12 o'clock, they anticipated shutting down Haas South.
Right. And then also we did put in the website that the three restaurants, 319, the Sea Ranch, and
They were already shut down.
were shut down, and the Coast Guard, which was the third
And that's
restaurant
because
was-
you had to shut down.
Dirty House.
Sorry to interrupt, but my understanding is on that valve that was blowing in that area, you were able to shut off the upstream portion of it,
Yes,
which kept it from blowing, but that cut off service to the south part of
Yes, sir.
Casablanca, south of that line, but not to the north.
had the issue been on the north side of that valve, we
So
have
they're the
different
only ones that were without water for a longer period of time than the hour and 3/4 you referenced.
Correct.
Thank you.
Let me ask you this, I mean, this was a fairly big incident. Did we learn anything? Are we going to do anything differently, or do we think the way we reacted in the steps that we acted were proper?
We definitely are gonna change the, making calls to certain people.
We're gonna tweak it on that. My procedure is gonna have to change now. Instead of maybe notifying Southside Island, I'll just notify Mr. Galvan and Mr. Gomez. And then once they give me the green flag, okay, stay in communication with the island, then I'll stay in communication with the island. But my first response is gonna be to them.
Include in that loop, please, my suggestion would be the chairman, and then the chairman can take and
And he was one of the persons that called me, so I kind of replied to him, as things came
Oh, I
along.
imagine.
Send him the message.
I have a question, I guess for either one of you. When we put out the information that the water was gonna be shut off, did we include also that there was gonna be water available from the towers?
Yes.
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 Okay.
I believe we did, and that's one of the messages that I relayed to Darla Jones,
Okay.
Assistant City Manager, because she's working the utility side at other places, so she's very knowledgeable of what we do,
Right.
everything. And I did tell her we're shutting down at midnight to allow to fill up the tanks on the island from this time till midnight. We're gonna pump water as much as we can to the tanks, so we can provide service to the island.
Right, so that information was put on that information was also on our website, and this information we shared with the city of South Padre Island. Okay. And did we send out any social media ourselves?
We don't have a social media page.
Okay, okay.
The thing about it is that, we mentioned that when we closed Haas at midnight, Haas to the south, that the north end of the island was gonna have water available.
Right.
From Haas north, from the water towers.
And I think that's the information that was missing on social media. And I think that's
we have no
what,
control over that.
that's what got people panicking.
I think that's what was stoked the fire
Right.
and just blew out a portion. And we can't control that.
Yeah, I know, I understand that.
As best we can, and you know, like I said before, and I'll put this to Mr. Galan, had we been out there on a scheduled work, project, and we broke a line because we're doing some work at that time of year, by all means, get on me. Write me up to spend and do what you need to do, because I've been here 23 years and we know better than to do work on certain times of the year on the island. Unless it's an emergency service.
Right.
We try and stay away from the island certain times of the year for sure.
I really think that we ought to not only post to our website, but to get an account on Facebook, because that's where you're gonna reach most of the people on the island the quickest, I believe.
If they subscribe, if they like the district's Facebook page, who's gonna do that?
Well, it's gonna happen after something like this, I believe, more quickly than not. And I know Mayor Stahl is here, and I would invite him to address or share any concerns you might have, Dennis, at this time with us.
First, I'd like to thank y'all for moving this up a little bit on the agenda so I can keep my dinner reservation with my bride. Appreciate that. I think I want to start with, we have 60 to 65,000 kids, according to the cameras, or people on the island. There's 14 of us, soon to grow to 24 people in the Emergency Operations Center to make sure that our citizens are safe, well cared for, and communicated with. So I understand that pipes break, switches break, stuff has to be spotted. Completely understand that. And I can give you complete blow by blow from the city manager, because I happen to be sitting right next to her in the Emergency Operations Center when this was going on. And I don't know for the purposes of this meeting that it's important that I give you everything, but I want to be direct with you, and I also want to offer you the opportunity for us to help if we can. You know, as the mayor, I'm responsible for water, or they think I am, for power, for outages, and everything else. Sea Ranch was having their best spring break ever, but the pipe broke. I had arrangements for 6 family members to be there that night. Joel did call, and he did talk to William Victor. Our understanding in the city manager's notes will show that the mayor wasn't called, the city manager wasn't called, eventually Darla Jones was called, assistant city manager. That's fine. We're all there together. We have 65,000 people on the island. It's a crucial time. And what I'm talking to you about today is not the fact that a pipe breaks or that a spotter has to be called out or any of that, because that's what y'all do, and that's what we expect you to do. But at a crucial time for us, when we're trying to put our best foot forward, communication was lacking.
Can you elaborate on that, Dennis?
Yeah. Your general manager and I had a blunt conversation around 6 p.m. We were told that water was going to be cut off. We immediately posted on Swift 911, where we have, 1,000 different people subscribed to. You get a text on your phone, and hey, water's being cut off.
Had you had a full assessment at that time?
No.
Why did you do that? Just curious.
Because we were told the water was going to be shut off.
To the whole island?
Yeah. We just heard water was going to be shut off.
Nobody asked where.
Nobody asked how long for...
No, we would expect y'all to tell us it's going to be here, there, or someplace else. Okay? So we're sitting there and we're scrambling. We've hired 3 times as many officers as we normally have. We have, instead of 90, we have 194 badges on the island, and we're working really hard to maintain control. And we get a cryptic note, water's being shut off. I called your general manager, and it was a blunt conversation around 6 p.m. And I said, please give me regular updates throughout the night. I did receive a text at 2:03 a.m. Water is back on. So for an 8-hour period, I received no direct communications.
Dennis, you said you had not received, but according to what Joel has been saying, he was in fairly recurring contact with, I guess, Baldovinos or someone, or Darla.
Ms. Guthrie and Ms. Jones.
Okay, so if y'all want the whole blow-by-blow,
No,
I'll bring all that to you, because it started with William and Victor. And also there was a comment made that we lost the city manager's phone number. I don't know. I know that Carlos has my phone number, and it was a blunt conversation. It was a tough conversation. I'll admit that, because we don't know what's going on, and we're struggling. Not just with water, but a lot of other things. Okay? Now, let's move a little bit beyond that. We have a public information officer that was sitting 2 seats down from the city manager, ready to post stuff. We post regularly on our site, it's well followed, and we also post to South Padre Island Concierge, where there are 34,000 followers. And many of those are people who are visiting the island and everywhere else. She springs into action, does everything she can. All she needs is accurate information. I'm going to quote from the March 15th release from LMWD. Laguna Madre Water District will be shutting of water, not off water, shutting of water for emergency water repair of 8-inch valve in your area. Work is to be done from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. Skip forward to the bottom of the next paragraph. LMWD will be shutting off water at 12 a.m. for an extended period of time, for approximately 7 hours or less, which will affect the following areas. South of Haas to Cameron County parks north of Haas will experience low water pressure. Y'all are our water company.
Technically, that is correct.
Well, we pay 81% of the taxes to this district.
I mean, technically, the information that was given
Customers do.
was correct. It was just a failure to understand that the water was going to be available from the tanks. Yeah, and that's information we could have shared and said, you're going to have water, but technically, yes, the water was shut off to the island. And that's something we should have made clear. I do agree.
So, I'm here, I'm being blunt. It was a tough time for us. And it's important that you hear from, I guess, your biggest taxpayer, or taxpayer base, that we were not happy with the performance of the communication. The line breaking, the valves breaking, the spotting, everything else that has to happen. Got no problem with that. But if you're going to do it, give us good information.
I agree.
We'll work cooperatively with you as best we possibly can to communicate accurate information to everybody on the island. Thank you. Do
Thank
have
you.
Questions for me?
I would like to be blunt on that. I've been around the island longer than you even knew of it. I've been through all the spring breaks, and I was there on the board when we had real spring breaks, when we had real crowds here for the whole month. I was in that quote-unquote war room when we had a real crisis, like a bridge getting knocked down. And we had people stranded on the island and everybody's in a panic. Our businesses went to heck. I commiserate with you, I understand your frustration, but I think your frustration is misplaced because our people did the job they needed to do. If they did not communicate with you in the manner or the fashion that you expected, tough. We dealt with the situation. I'm commending our people for doing it in the safest manner to minimize injury to our district, our personnel, our infrastructure, and minimizing the time that our customers were without service. I'm sorry that you didn't get the communication you thought you needed to have, but sir, your text blasting all of us did not help the situation. I'd like you to take and really appreciate some real serious problems before you take and try to disparage this district, because you ain't seen nothing yet, sir.
Thanks for your comments.
Well, I think we've all have to learn from this situation, and I appreciate your comments. You see some things that might need to be different as far as your communication with Carlos. I think Carlos realizes, you know, hopefully we'll not see these big things very often, but they occur. and they're a thorn in everybody's butt. I don't think it does anybody good to point one way or one the other. We're all a part of the same community. This could have easily have happened in Port Isabel as Laguna Vista, and no, the feelings would still, the feathers would still be ruffled. But I hope that we can take from this to discussion and move forward, knowing that, and you say you've got some ideas to implement these things, working better with you, working better with the city manager, Laguna Vista, Port Isabel, and whomever they designate, and just, you know, do the best for it's our community. It's not South Padre Island community, it's not a Laguna Vista, it's not Port, it's our community. And we serve on a board to serve this community as you serve South Padre Island. So let's, if we can, be friends, go forward, do the best. I like this SWIFT 911. I would like for us to investigate how we can tap into that. And I think I said we had talked about our own public information officer. I don't know that we need one full-time, but I think that we need to designate one individual. I don't think the responsibility of communicating ought to be on your responsibility is fixing the leak.
And it's interesting because this is exactly the reason I proposed a PIO officer.
Yeah.
And not, I mean, maybe we're not there yet, and that's okay. But Dennis, is there something that you would like, you personally, I mean, I think that maybe the thing to do would be for Mr. Galvan to communicate directly to you instead of to Victor, and then you can pass the information on. Would you prefer that over what happened, or what? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I'm just reading into what you just said, and that's what I got out of it. So if that's what you want, I think that's an easy fix.
Victor and Willie are both valued employees.
They're very valuable, and they have to deal with all the restaurants. That's primarily, I think, the reason Joel called. But I can understand why you would be upset for not getting the call yourself. So I totally get that.
Or the city manager. And what I said...
Well, I think that you would be a good person to contact, because you do go on social media, and you know that when you don't have a full assessment, you don't post stuff on there. You know, so that's why I asked that question. So I can see where there was some problems, and those are easily addressed, but I think the line of communication should be directly to the mayor, and then he can disperse to Victor at your...
Well, the city manager is the CEO of the city. She does a real adequate job. We can work with you on the line of communication, or the group text stuff, or whatever.
And that's great. The only reason I'm suggesting you is because I never got a text from the city manager. I got one from you. So that's why I'm suggesting that.
Well, thank you.
Okay.
Alex. I appreciate that. What I came here to do was say, let's learn from this.
We could benefit from that 911. You know, I know we can.
Earlier,
that
we
comes
can
here is what
benefit from
everybody's
that.
on.
And, you know, for us, we just established an emergency operations center with cameras and everything, and all these people from all the agencies for the first time in my memory. As Mr. Wells pointed out, you know, I'm just a real short timer here. But I think we can work with you, and I think our public information officer can help craft the message to notify people on the outside.
Yeah, and I like that in place, because that we could all benefit from that system. But the last thing we want to do is put out information that is not current or
Mr. Dahl, I apologize for my passion. It's not always best directed. I do want to say finally that this is a learning lesson for all of us, and I welcome the communication that we're having here now, and I welcome it to be a lesson to build upon, otherwise just a mistake. It doesn't have to be a mistake. So I support that.
I appreciate your time.
All right, Mayor, thank you. Anything else on this? Okay. Item number 5, General Manager's Report.
I have 5 items in there. One of them is the workshop schedule, because I believe that we do need a workshop for job description, maybe a couple of them that were directed to me. The other one is a personnel policy that we're working on. We need to bring it up at the same time, same workshop. and probably the service policy, because there's information that we need to update. So I believe that in April, whatever y'all decide on the date, we can have a workshop. I believe there's gonna be a meeting here on the 11th, and we'll try to make it short, maybe an hour, hour and a half.
Are you proposing a workshop for personnel policy and what else?
Included with the job descriptions.
And the job description?
Right, because it's kind of one thing, especially on the general manager, I'd like to discuss some stuff in there.
My recommendation there is that the board really just works with the directors and the general manager on that and not get too much into the human resource part of it as far as the general personnel policy, which is just keep it where I think that we would have the most input benefit to the district board.
Right, okay.
And then...
So you want to wait on that one till later?
No, I'm not saying that, but I don't, what I'm suggesting is that we don't make it huge.
No, it's not
That
gonna be
we need
huge,
to
and that's
take
why.
and have,
Right.
I think Mr. Avalos been working with you some, and I've tried to help, so anybody else, and then we have it together and get the full board's input on this
And
at the
like I
right
said,
time.
we try to make it short, hopefully less than an hour, hour and a half.
You wanna do it,
Depends on how many questions.
the following day, or do you wanna do it early that day, or?
Whenever you all decide to. It could
I'd
be-
rather do it early and get it like at 4 o'clock.
So you guys want to have it 4 o'clock and then
Regular
before
meeting
the
at
11th,
5:30.
we can
Yeah.
have something in there?
Yeah. What are you gonna do? Are we gonna do a workshop, anything on the meter system, or I'll
Not
wait
yet.
for your meter
Not
report.
yet. Yes, the meter report,
Do we
well,
need
we
a
can go on
workshop
that
on
one
it?
too, jump on it right now. Mr. Gomez is still working on it, and he's out of town right now, so he's not gonna complete it.
Do we need another workshop for that? Keep that in
Yes,
mind,
yes.
where it might
Possibly
tag on
if we do, it'll be another workshop, not the same one.
Okay.
It'll be too long and too much information to
Yeah.
But, on this one, so y'all just decided like.
The
maybe
11th?
11th?
11th,
4th?
April 11th?
4th?
Is that a regular meeting date?
Yes,
Yes.
yeah, that's a regular meeting date.
Yeah, come at 4 instead of 5:30, and feed you sandwiches again.
I don't think they do it if we come at 4, they'll do it if we come at 3. Just
Came at 4:30 last time.
Yeah,
Just
well,
kidding.
you make sure that, you guys are not,
I prefer wings too.
Okay, the 11th at 4 p.m. Thank you on that one.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. The next one is, the regular meeting on April the 25th. 3 board members are gonna be out, so if y'all wanna cancel it or move it around.
Which
Depends
meeting?
on
What date?
The 25th of April.
25th?
Yes, sir.
Can the district get along without a meeting at that time?
Yes, we can, unless something comes up, an emergency, we can do it also as an
That's
emergency.
what we've done in the past, FYI, is that, if we miss something, we just leave it to the general manager's discretion. If there's something that really comes up
Right.
that needs a special meeting, we can do that. Otherwise, we don't plan on the regular meeting.
Okay, we do.
That's just me speaking, gentlemen.
So no meeting for,
25th. But if
Okay.
something comes up, he needs to do something, then, that would be
I know that 3 board members are gonna be out
Oh, for what?
week.
the whole week, starting the
More or
23rd,
less until.
No, we leave on Wednesday, I think.
Yeah.
25th?
Wednesday.
Yeah.
26th. We'll be back on
the 25th is Administrative Professionals Day.
Well, we wouldn't want to do it on the 23rd or the 27th, so that whole week is gone, so.
yeah, right. So, unless something, like I said, an emergency, comes up, we need to have a meeting, I'll call you all and have it, but it'll be pretty quick on that one. Emergency meetings are like 2 hour,
Notice.
just 2 hour, call in. And
Question for legal. We're discussing calling it an emergency meeting. It would just not be a regular meeting. My experience is that there's specific criteria that qualifies for an emergency meeting. And just the regular business of the district is not an emergency meeting.
You can call, emergency meeting provides you shorter time frames in which you can, have to, I guess, notify the public.
Well,
So I think what he means is a non-scheduled.
right. In my experience, for emergency meeting on the municipal code specifies it can only be in times like disaster and certain things like that, and there's time frames that it has to meet, it can't be called.
So you can, you
My
can have
question-
a regularly scheduled meeting, what you could have is a special meeting.
Special meeting.
Is just.
Yeah, we could call it-
Not an emergency, a special meeting.
Special meeting.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it
Okay.
could happen either emergency or special.
Yeah.
Well, my
Depends on the
question is,
situation.
referencing an emergency meeting, that falls under the true character, or definition of emergency meeting under the government
Certain
code.
criteria and then.
So we just call it a special
Special
meeting?
meeting.
Yeah, whichever it calls for. and
Special meeting,
we'll make
meet the
sure-
notice requirement, we're all good.
Yeah, and we make sure that we call them all the time, so,
Thank you.
special or okay. The meeting report, as mentioned earlier, that Mr. Gomez is still working on it. He told me to let you guys know that he's almost completed the report. But to see at the leave, he said, just hold off and I want to report it. So he wanted to give you all the report. It'll be by the 11th, it'll be ready. So that's all I have on the meters. Any questions on that? So I can let Mr. Gomez know. Okay.
Just waiting for his report.
Okay, you do. Election schedule for November 2018. There's 2, position 1 and 2 coming up. I just wanted to let you, the board know that, the kickoff, everything starts June the 21st. And we'll keep you posted on what's, possibly the month before, give you a schedule on everything that's gonna happen at certain times.
What's the filing deadline?
June, what was it? There's a deadline for, like, military personnel that wanna apply. Yeah, June 21st is the actual one, right? June 21st? Yeah, that's what I was gonna mention, June 21st, but I think there was another one that, special, military, what was it, January 1st? Ballot by now, so that's
For filing, I'm
January 1st,
speaking of-
2018.
If somebody wants to file for position, what's the deadline for doing that? June 21st?
June 21st is to start off, and then
It starts then.
The last day, okay? August 20, or a month after.
August 20?
2 months after.
And whose seats are those?
Mine and her, Rick's.
The 2 wells?
Position 1 and 2 is Mr. Wells,
Wells and Wells.
those Wells.
Yeah, you guys could save money on signs.
Okay, then the next one, the audit update is I talked to, Mr. Barrera. We just, received, the letter that was supposed to be turned in from the attorney today, this afternoon, about 4, and I sent it to him, and he said, thank you. I'll give you a call tomorrow and schedule, maybe a committee meeting with the audit committee to get it covered, and hopefully by the 11th, we can report to the board that it's completed and all taken care of.
Thank you.
That's all I have for right now, unless you all have any other questions. Thank you.
Okay, moving on, item number 6, consider and remove from the table the following item tabled at the regular meeting on March 14th, 2018. Consider and discuss for possible approval of job descriptions for the general manager, director of operations, director of finance, and district engineer.
So if we don't take it off the table, since we're gonna have a workshop later about it, does it just stay on the table, or we just go ahead and not take it off the table and let it die?
What I wanna do, once we get to the number 7,
Right.
I'm just gonna ask the board to no action on it, and then we'll come back and
Bring it.
Okay.
Okay.
So
Right
move.
now, just to take it off the table.
So move.
Second, take it off the table.
Take it off the table? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion passes unanimously. So we're gonna, leave it on it? We're gonna leave it on the table?
No, we're just going to number 7, read it, then we're going.
Okay. Consider and discuss for possible approval of job descriptions for the general manager, director of operations, director of finance, and district engineer.
Just do no action, then it dies.
No action? Okay, that's no action on that item. Number 9, consider and discuss for possible approval, board travel to San Antonio, Texas for,
Number 8.
we already did that one.
Today.
That was Mr. Stahl's deal.
Oh, yes,
Thank
we
you.
did, we did.
That's one we moved up.
The protocol.
Thanks so much.
Consider and discuss for possible approval, board travel to San Antonio, Texas for Texas Water Conference, April 23rd through April 26, 2018. Carlos?
This one, we need board approval to approve the board.
Second. Herb made a motion to approve, I seconded.
Oh, okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion passes unanimously. Consider and discuss for possible approval purchase of flange immersion heater, bid number WP 18-31.
For the purchase of one flange immersion heater, we are recommending West Coast Plastic.
I got a question. Have we assessed the other, I mean, I know we're just buying one, is that correct? And have we assessed the others, the conditions, or, of the other that we're not replacing? I guess that's what I'm wondering.
Yeah, I need to look into that, I need to ask the,
What I recall is that there's it's a five, I guess we call it flange heaters on each single module.
Mm-hmm.
And when you buy the new one, it'll have 5
Oh, okay,
new ones in there.
okay.
And then we can probably utilize,
So this is one heater, not 5 heaters.
yes,
Correct.
This is one heater that has 5 flange heaters.
Elements, yes.
And so right now only 3 of the 5 are working,
I got it.
so we're replacing that would be done. I'll let you finish your question, then I have a question.
No, that's fine. That's all I needed to know.
I see only four bidders on here. What effort was made to try to find other bidders?
We advertise these on the website, business. I have another vendor, but he didn't want to send the big package. He didn't want to get involved into governmental, I don't remember the exact words that he used. He said, I can send you the quote and letterhead, right? But I cannot send you the COP and get involved into all this process. But
What was his bid? What was his quote?
He didn't bid.
What was his quote? Just curious.
Actually was the lowest, like $800 less than.
$800 less, because he didn't want to be burdened with the bidding process. I understand that, but I asked, so was there any others that you contacted directly to try to find anybody?
No, that's the most vendors that I could find with these.
And what source did you look for these?
What?
Well, how did you look for more vendors?
I look distributors for the brand for this heater, Google it, Bybor.
So you were going by the brand of this heater? I'm assuming that's what you were instructed by
Yes, for the
department manager. So, do you know if that particular flange heater was restricted to only work with the current setup, or was it flexible enough to where it could have been, another brand could have fit into that same hole, for lack of a better description?
Heater, special, right? The titanium made, and that's why I didn't wanna look for another company that made, right? I just wanna get with the what we need with the equipment that we have. It's really special.
I find it hard to believe. I appreciate the fact that it is titanium, so therefore it has to be met to the industry standards related to the application. And I wouldn't expect you to put a stainless steel or bronze, but same time, I'm asking if you searched out any other vendors of titanium 5-flange heaters that, you know, to give us a better option to consider.
The bid recommend is the brand, right? But it doesn't mean that they cannot quote on a different.
Right. You could have, did any of the director of department managers suggest that you have a certain size hole that a heater can be put in, or there could be a modification to accomplish the same thing, to give an option to consider other vendors instead of going back to the same old?
Is this a custom-made product?
Yes.
They all have pipe fittings,
Okay.
you know,
So
5-inch pipes, a 5-inch pipe.
I guess what I'm wondering is, because of the way it's designed,
Yeah,
there's limited people that will build this or that will make it?
Yes, they don't have any stock. Actually, all the pork vendors are going with the manufacturer.
Okay.
That's why the lead time is that big. But they don't have any stock. You need to.
Okay, and there's no way of dealing directly with the manufacturers?
They don't wanna sell you.
They don't wanna,
They
right.
need to get you ready with that distributor.
Well, they're giving us an 8 to 11 week lead time on this. They're all gonna manufacture it or go ahead and come up with it. So I can support this proposal. I'm disappointed that we don't have at least the other guy that you would encourage to give us a quote on $800 less.
But he didn't know it was $800.
$400.
That's what he stated.
$400.
They said 800. I heard 800.
Oh, okay.
I'm not gonna make a big thing of it, but I'm disappointed in the process that you went through here to find us the best price. I would like the purchasing agent, Mr. Gavon, to take and explore to the ends of the earth and give us the best options that we can to take and fill that hole with some heaters. A heater's a heater. I don't want to oversimplify it because I'm not qualified.
I don't, the manager is here, he could have probably answered something, but he's not here, so.
Well, let me ask, educate me then. What the hell are we talking about?
It's a heater that for caustic soda, it's a very corrosive chemical, it's liquid. But when you have cool weather, like 50, 60 degrees, it'll get solid, it'll solidify, and you can pump it.
And where is this used? In the water distribution?
In the chemical tank, inside the chemical tank, keep it warm.
Okay.
So we'll need it next October or November, maybe.
I suppose, could be.
Given tonight's
Yeah,
whole
like
price,
eight-
it's very
eight-
cold.
8
Yeah.
weeks of lead time, so. But, they do need it for. We purchased this equipment from, Old Corporation, and they was, that's the first quote that we got, the replacement from them for the, 18,000. So I started looking, and I get, 11,000, so I think the best of it.
Yeah. Thank you for doing that. I'll move to approve.
What's the useful life on one of these heaters?
I think we have 2 or 3 years with this machine, because I started talking.
You got a motion?
With the manager.
Yeah, with motion, do we have a second?
That's it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I might suggest when you get this thing, put it on the shelf, don't install it. You don't need it now. Wait till the winter time when you might need it, then install it, because, save you 6 months.
The what?
Yeah. I move we approve the low bid.
We got a motion already.
Second.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Well, motion passes unanimously. Let's see here. Number 11, consider and discuss for possible approval, purchase of raw water pump. Enrique?
Advertisement solicited for the purchase of raw water pump. The recommendation is on the pump report.
Where's this pump gonna be used?
Man.
I don't sense, but I am not sure if that's okay.
Between the river and our plant in Laguna Vista, you don't know?
I don't know.
Yeah.
And you said it's no longer efficient. How was it tested?
The manager told me that GPM is not giving us the 2,500 a minute. I don't know how he measures.
We need Charles here on this one to talk to us about it.
You know, the one plant.
I think one of the things that would help me would be to have some like backup information on some of these things, because I mean I'm approving these things in the dark. Number one, I don't know how they work, and neither do you. And we don't have the manager, the person who can tell us
So, well, no, you know.
how efficient or how non-efficient they are. And I don't doubt that we might need it, but it's very hard to make these decisions when there's no backup. No guidelines as to how we approach these vendors, because I'm sure everybody has to answer the same questions. That would be helpful. And just to give a little history, like, okay, we're replacing this pump that we've already had for 8 years, and this is the condition it's in, and this is why it's not working efficiently. That kind of information is really helpful, so I would really appreciate if we could get some more backup information on these things. Yeah.
Specifically, these pumps all work on RPMs and flow, gallons per minute. And my simple knowledge, most pumps are all the same way. However fast that vein is going to spin is what it's going to pump. If it's missing any of the veins, or if it's missing any of the parts of the impellers, then that's going to affect it. Thank you, Mr. Avalos. I agree that, you know, you were saying here, they said no longer efficient. That just leaves, okay, what does that mean? I certainly don't want to put my position to guess, but some backup material would be very helpful to know that this pump is what we have, this is how old it is, and this is what it's rated at to perform performance-wise and flow, gallon per minute. As you quoted that it wasn't pumping the gallons per minute required. We're asking, Mr. Delahunt, about having more backup in the packet for all of these different items, so that we know, rather than just the statement of no longer efficient. And so, much as I appreciate a really skinny packet, there's a lot of this stuff, for me to make any kind of a decision based on that, I need some more background material for that.
Where is this pump located at? At the river, or? I don't have a clue.
No one knows.
Golf course? River? Where?
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Yeah, to table?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, okay. Motion approved. We're gonna table this one unanimously. Discuss for possible approval purchase of a 16-inch gate valve. Ricky?
We advertised for the purchase of the 16-gauge valve with 216 megalux. We're recommending our works for.
This is for the golf course.
There's a new meter going in? Yeah.
What size meter? What does that mean?
I will, moving forward after this, asking for the manager's help on more details.
So you gotta give it to you.
No,
They have to give it to you.
16-gauge valve, and that's it.
Okay, that's a gate valve, not a meter?
Well, it's a raw water, gate valve is needed for installation of raw water meter of golf course. That's the justification we got.
I have a little bit of information on that, just from past experience. For the raw water feeds into the golf course, it's a 16-inch line, and the valve that's used to isolate that line is out of service. I think it's got a broken stem or something, but it doesn't shut. And in order for us to change out that meter that's in place right now, that's not working accurately, they need to install that valve so we can.
Is there a meter there actually?
Yes, sir.
And what we don't know if the valve can be repaired. If it's just
I
the stem,
believe
if the gate and the stem can be replaced, can it be replaced or repaired?
Thing is, on that, well, it's gonna be like that either, we're gonna have to, pump down the reservoir, so we don't have any water going to the overflow for the golf course, in order to replace that valve.
Again, to back up, I don't know if it's the gate in the valve, if it's the stem that's actuating the gate, or if it's the handle on top, like they all rust away.
Right.
And are we just throwing away everything because of the whole valve is no longer working, or a part doesn't work?
Just thinking, what probably happened, either the stem or the operating net is out and gone. But when these valves were installed back in the day, they don't install them as we do now, where we got the plastic wrap and whatnot to protect them. A lot of the bolts that hold the bonnet, the top of the valve in place, could be gone. There's a number of factors that could be there that, why that valve doesn't operate. Sometimes in the long run, it's cheaper to change it out than do some work, and then a couple of years later, something else goes out, and you're going back to it. So,
I'd like to table this item until the staff has had an opportunity to make a determination of the things that Mr. Lopez just was referencing.
I'd like to mention one thing also. On 16-inch gate valves, I've never seen where they sell parts for it. They usually sell the whole valve. The thing of this one is, if it's not working and it's 10 feet below ground, you don't know what the problem is. All you know is that it's not working properly.
How do you turn it off?
we don't know.
It's the thing, see, they
You gotta
haven't
dig
figured
it out to do it.
Now, if they need it, they don't have it.
And that's what I'm saying, if, when staff goes out to change out that valve, we're gonna have to lower that reservoir down to where the pipe that, where the raw water goes into the golf course, where the water level is gonna be below that, and I think at that point in time, the reservoir is down like at 7 feet. So we're gonna go down pretty.
How do you?
But what I'm saying is that even if, you know, that valve needs a stem or whatever it needs, you don't know until you dig it up and take it
All right,
apart.
I can understand that. Let me ask you, how is the water, so now the meter's not functioning, so it needs to be replaced. What controls the flow of water before or beyond the meter? How do we stop pumping water into their lagoons all the time?
They have a pump station that they turn on and off, and if they don't turn it on, the water's not gonna flow through it.
So it's below grade,
By
so they
demand.
pull it up
On their part.
Correct.
by demand on their part.
So once you dig it out though, you need to have the part there.
The
Right.
sooner that we have it there available, the sooner they.
Right.
I retract my motion to table.
Okay.
Do
We have another motion?
I move we approve.
Second.
And we have a motion to approve in a second, all in favor?
The
A little bit, yeah.
The low bid of, from what, Aqua Works? Oh, wait, yeah, Aqua Works. Boy, this, yeah. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion passes unanimously. Item 13, consider and discuss for possible approval purchase of air supply material for Andy Boyd wastewater treatment plant.
We advertise for the procurement of material for air supply pipes that need to be replaced. We are just purchasing the raw material. We are doing the replacement and stuff.
I find it disappointing that we only have 3 proposals for a bid on this, when this material list that I see here is so universally available.
More companies were invited to bid, only these 3 replied back with their quote.
In your
I don't know
next
if it was
report-
because of the galvanized quote.
In your next
or-
report, please, just list all the companies that were asked to bid. So Mr. Wells and whomever can know that at least, you know, this number of people were contacted, so whether they return the bid or not, it's not reflective upon your lack of wanting them to bid.
This lead time, it would appear that our low bid has it in stock, and our other 2 bidders have to order it in.
Yeah, it hasn't stopped that 2-3 days, it's just for. the
Yeah,
galvanized
one's got it in
quote.
stock and 2 don't. Okay.
This stuff is so readily available everywhere.
Who determines, I mean, who came to you and asked you to look for this material?
For this particular,
Charles did it. So he comes and said, look, I need this, this, and this, and you, okay,
and just start the procurement process and collect.
okay.
And he got it from some drawings he had, sorry, sir, go ahead.
That would be my department, that's why I'm here.
Thank you.
I'll try to elaborate or, expound on it a little bit. Francisco Guzman, Department 8 or wastewater, senior operator for wastewater department. Andy Bowie, usually I go for the drawing over there, but I'll try to do it verbally. The square tube, it's square tubing, just to expound on that just a tiny bit. It is square tubing. It is the main, those two square tubing hold, they serve two functions. They act as the header to our digester diffusers, and they act as the beams that hold the catwalk, or the catwalk that we walk on, where we take our readings and anything we need to do with the digesters. I was going to ask you if I could draw something that way.
I
Sure.
think at this point, if you just do, sorry, if we could just kind of, I'm not really expecting you to
It's
draw it
just-
out
it's-
and just,
It's just square tubing.
is it hot dip or just plated?
It's galvanized. That one's galvanized.
Got
and
hot
then
dip galvanized?
Yeah.
The real deal?
Yeah,
And is
and,
it 316 stainless or 304?
What's underneath, I'm not sure. I know it's not,
What did you
I know
request?
it's not stainless.
304.
There's some of it's 316,
304? Yeah.
just 304, not 316?
No, it's pretty bad. It's rusty. I fixed
Well-
some myself with fiberglass on there, some holes.
Right.
With fiberglass on there as well. And that was years back.
I'm just saying 304 is just kind of mild, it's not gonna last much longer than galvanized
Yeah.
compared to 316, certainly the real deal. And that's why I asked, is hot dip galvanized, which certainly gives you more life. I applaud the district and staff, for tackling this themselves. I applaud you for understanding what you're dealing with
Yeah.
here.
We've made several attempts, us and the operators, my fellow operators, at fixing the pock marks on it. Rust is silent, it's there. I've used fiberglass, we've used, 2 metal plates with rubbers on them, and, cause it's square tubing, and bolted them down.
Are you comfortable with 304 stainless doing the job?
I prefer the,
316?
what's gonna last, yeah, because it
316.
is Andy Bowie and I know what's gonna happen.
Yes.
Do we have, is that available here though?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah, just cost more.
So that's this.
No,
this
so
is-
it's not part of the list? then?
That's not what we've got here.
You said it was 304. You were quoted 304? That's what you requested, you didn't request 316.
See, I don't know the difference. How much difference is it in something like that, Doyle? I don't have a clue. I don't know.
It can go 10 to 20%, but that's only just that
Is this
200
part of,
foot.
that relocating some of those pipes? Is that what this is for?
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's saying there's better stuff we
we'll
could
be
use.
extracting those, the existing ones, we'll be extracting those and installing the new ones. However, like Mr. Samaniego was saying, any little tweaks we have to do to it, like, female MPT fittings, in other words, threaded fittings, if we have to weld anything on there, or anything that needs to be done, we are gonna try to do it in-house.
Okay.
And install it in-house as well, to try to help our cost curve. Because I know there's quite a bit of beams, and I know they're expensive.
So do you wanna bring this back with a different quote for the other material, or?
Which material is it we're talking about, Doyle? The six-
Stainless steel, it's only 200 foot or 4, but I guess that's 4 inch by 10 foot.
So the 16,450, and we're talking 15 or 20% difference, basically?
I'm not qualified to say, but that's my experience, it is more expensive. It does give you more life.
Seems to me like it's 4, not feet, but 4 inches by 10 inches.
Oh, 4 inches by 10 inches,
Oh, the square tubing.
Yeah, but it's not.
Oh, that's
square,
rectangular.
Oh, no.
Rectangular
Yeah,
tube,
it's
yeah.
inches.
Yeah.
4x10.
Yeah, 4x10 on the,
And then-
the square.
Oh, that's big stuff.
And then just quarters, and it's probably 20-foot sticks. Most of it is.
Since it's coarse air, in other words, it acts as the header, and then you have diffusers coming out of it. Right? That square beam acts as the header, and then you have
Okay.
diffusers coming out of it. It's old school architecture.
It's the air duct.
Yeah, and that's the way it is, and those two square tubings feed digester 1 and digester 2. At the end, they will so.
It seems to me like if from the 16,450, it might go to 20. We have,
In this case, Mr. Galvano, I'm not advocating to be stingy. I would advocate to put in, if we're going to do the labor part of this, is going to be significant, even the staff is doing it, that we put in something that's going to give more life to the product. Would that be your assessment also?
yes, sir. I'd recommend that, if the board approves the same company, and we'll go with the 316 instead of the 384.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second.
Can we do that, council? We're approving a bid of $30,800 with provision that to go up in grade on one part of it, we're authorizing whatever that may be
We're just changing the spec.
to be to the bid. We're authorizing an unspecified amount.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Well.
I'd rather bring it back.
You might want
Yeah, I
to
think
mention
so.
it with parameters. You know, in terms of, I don't know enough about the subject matter y'all are talking.
Real simple. We're approving a bid amount,
Right.
but at the same time, we're approving the bid amount to be higher with an unknown amount. So I think we're kind of at catch-22 there.
Okay, I'm gonna withdraw my motion. My new motion is that we table this thing till the next meeting. You come back with bids on the specs that you suggest.
We have a motion, we have a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Opposed?
Thank you
Motion
for
passes,
information,
motion
sir.
passes, consider and discuss, do we need to make any type of motion for them to come back with the other, or?
No.
Who else
Just table
has-
it.
Just tabled it.
We're just table, okay, and they're gonna do, okay. Number 14, consider and discuss for possible approval, purchase of timekeeping system.
We are trying to acquire a timekeeping system, compatible to our finance payroll. This one we advertise. We are using a program similar to Whiteboard and Tips. They already see the procurement process. Tyler Technologies has a contract with them. They already work with the RFPs for what they are soliciting software. But however, I request for some other, I look for some other vendors, some other quotes, and just to prove we are getting that. We are recommending going with Tyler Technologies.
Yeah, this is, I guess, another one that we, I'd like to get some more information about this, and part of what got my attention on this one was I was looking at the Net Time Solutions, and my question was, when it indicates here, did not provide this information, does that mean it's included and they just didn't provide it?
No, they didn't provide.
Does that mean it's included in the price though?
I included Net Time Solutions even if they didn't include everything, because the price for employee at month, it was higher than the other ones.
No. So in other words, there's an additional cost. When it indicates did not provide this information, that means there's an additional cost there. Okay. Yeah, because I was looking at them, and, you know, a part of the reason that I started looking at that was because on the 5-year total, we're actually saving about $3,900, somewhere around there. And
39,000, don't we?
No, about 3,900.
Oh, I see here.
And that was one of the reasons, but the other reason is I think we can get some input from our new finance director that's gonna be coming in. He's worked with systems before, these systems that we don't have, so I think he could give us some additional information that might help us find something. He did indicate to me, though, he says these things are expensive. He says, you know, they can get expensive. So my concern with going beyond 5 years is that technology is gonna change so fast that I don't wanna be stuck with an old technology.
The software has annual maintenance fee, right? They are updating the system, so we're saying.
Yeah.
Within 5 years, it could be half the price, regardless of what the software is.
Yeah, and that's really kind of where I'm coming from, is that, you know, we're committed to the cost, not the product. We can always change the product, but we can't change the price once we agree to it.
Alex, you wanna table this till the...
I'd like to table it, yeah, and try to get some, you know, I'd like to get some input from our new finance guy, because he is familiar with some of the systems they're using over at the city over there, so he might have some good information for us.
Yeah, he was saying that he was using that
At
system.
the same time we're doing that, I'd like to really I'd like him to give an assessment of what the district's needs are. I'm reading here, I requested some backup information. I didn't get any bid specs, personally, because it wasn't bid out, but guidelines that the vendors were solicited for providing their bids, what were the guidelines for that? And one of the things was, you know, clocks with keypad only. No biometrics, you know, no
This
fingerprints.
hasn't worked in the past.
Well, that's the past. What's new? What can work now?
Who's gonna be using this?
Yeah. Well, the other thought I had was maybe, and I don't know this for a fact, but maybe G5, is that the name of them?
Yes.
Yeah.
They might be able to have some information for us. I mean, this guy, from what I understand, he develops these things, you know, so maybe he can come up with I mean, it doesn't hurt to ask, you know, that maybe he can come up with some software or something that will work for us here.
Yeah.
You know, he might have something that he uses for his company that might work just adequately for us and not have to buy into. But I'd like the options of being able to sign in, you know, through the web or through a phone call, because I understand there's people that don't come to the office, so we do need different ways of getting them signed in when they do clock in. So.
Yeah, so,
The only comment that I want to say is that we need to consider with any product that we purchase that we need the transfer data, because payroll consists in 3 parts, which is your financial part where we process the payroll, your time entry system, and then your transfer data. That's a program that needs to transmit from the timekeeping system, transmit the information into the payroll system. What
Okay.
we're doing right now, we enter everything manually.
Right.
We compute the time cards manually, and we gotta be very careful because we need to compute when to compute overtime and when it doesn't apply to overtime. And
Right.
of course, we need to comply with the FLSA, which requires timekeeping. And it's real hard the way we're doing it right now.
Right.
But going back to my concern is that we need to consider that if we get any other company that is not compatible, of course it has to be compatible to INCO. The situation is that INCO is gonna charge if the company, if that timekeeping system is not compatible with our payroll system, our financial system. So that's a must.
Let's get this new guy to
We are looking
give us-
forward to this call.
Okay.
And there's a lot of things, benefits, you know, but first for me is the compliance.
Okay.
That's my main concern, and also the productivity, the accuracy, time saving. There's a lot of things. Employees sometimes twice, they have a project, they're in another area of Laguna Madre, any of our buildings, and they have to get additional cards because we don't have that cloud service where they can swipe anytime in anywhere of the cloud that we have. It's a lot of things, but my main concern is compliance. That's what
Okay.
I'm looking for online. But it's something that we need to consider, that this has to be accessible, and we need to compute those timekeeping hours into our payroll financials.
So the time clocks need to speak in code.
Yes.
And at the same time, you're gonna have human interaction with that, as you're doing now, to where you're calculating and you're manually entering into encode the times, correct? So, Mark, and then you outline that you have a problem with some other areas that, you know, folks can't access. As an example, and it's not an encode system, but there's a system out there, lots of systems, one system that you can take on an app on your phone that is a timekeeping app that people can access anywhere. And then that app would go to a cloud, and then whomever's in, you know, bookkeeping that does that, then would take that app information that they would have the admin for, and put that into encode to alleviate some of that problems. I'm not advocating that. The point I'm making is there's a lot of new technology out there, and I don't want to be stuck with, well, biometrics didn't work with us before. Because we run in my own experience with time cards. You know, Joe Blow, clock me in, clock me out, and they're not even there. We have to have more safeguards that whomever is clocking in and clocking out is actually doing that, either through an app that's working with encode or an app that can work and be put into encode. I suggest that we table this till we get more input. I would like to explore all new technology. I really don't want to look into a 5-year program and expect to save that money, because they're going to be updating it, because we're dealing with water meters right now that they're just not going to take and give us any more updates for.
It's not a 5-year program, it's just.
Even a 10-year, you gave us
Yeah.
data on a 5-year,
It's
10-year,
just to
and
show-
justification, your justification for going with a high bidder was because in 10 years we saved money from
Yeah, we're going to.
projected.
No.
Well,
No,
Alex
and-
recommended that we table also, so you're a second?
A second.
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yeah. And just, it might be good for either you, Mr. Galvan, or Enrique to, ask G5, see what they think.
And
I
how
mean, he
about-
could be a good resource
What
for
about
us.
the new finance man too? I mean, he's got to
Yeah.
use it, that's what I'm
Yeah.
thinking. And Mr. Gomez seemed to know a lot about encode the other night, so there's just too many people that still need to have some input, I think, on this, you guys.
Agreed.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to item number 15. Consider and do what? Consider and review expenditures for March 1st through March 15th, 2018. Anybody got any comments here?
Page 3 of 9, second item from the bottom. I'm certainly not pointing at fingers, I just have a question where Mr. Joel Lopez was paid $61.40 for a call out to repair 8-inch line. Are you salaried or by the hour, sir?
I'm salary.
So we paid you $61.40 for what?
No, sir, you reimbursed me for providing meals for the crew that was out there working before Friday morning.
Bless your heart. That's awesome. My other question on the same page, I answered, get it. My other comment that I would make on, above that, we're paying National Meter a bunch of money, $5,490 for 1-inch meters, and then the next page, we're paying National Meter for a bunch of 5/8 meters. My question is, what are we doing now buying national meters when we're very close to deciding that we need to go with another meter system? Are we shooting ourselves in the foot? That's my question.
Yes, we are. I had, talked to Joel on it. There's another project that, has bigger meters, and, I told him to go ahead and purchase a new one. If for anything, we'll try them out and see, we don't go.
So about the Ferguson?
Correct.
Instead of buying national, go ahead and buy Ferguson so we can try that? He's almost out. He's almost out, ma'am.
So, in talking about, the situation is we are shooting ourselves in the foot because we're purchasing the necessities of today, tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
Well, we spent $11,000 on meters that we may not need. Why did this occur?
We need them.
What's happening is, as we know, the transmitters are going out, the batteries are going dead and whatnot. So, all of these that are being placed, it's not the actual body, it's just the register and transmitter. Because many a times, too many times that I can say, we try to pull a data profile and it's not working.
Yeah.
Okay? So, going back a little bit, when the guys go out and meet and do the drive-by, we're having unread meters come back, 50, 75, 40. One cycle, 3, I think about a month and a half ago, we had 250 come back unread, which means the guys have to go out there and physically read those meters. So it's either it's going to hurt us in not finishing up our billing cycle in time, or we replace these registers and transmitters so we can get ahead and be able to bill our customers the appropriate amount.
I understand that perfectly. I understand the justification. I think that it's incumbent on the district to go ahead and make a decision, if we're gonna, change the meter, systems or not. And
I would urge you to
keep
make
our
that
10 toes.
decision as soon as you can, because we are just throwing money away.
Yeah.
Thank you.
How many units did this buy?
I think there's like 40.
20 on one and 20 on the other one.
More or less, okay.
40?
So 40?
But would they not work with the Ferguson,
I think she
meters
said it
over
would.
here? The transmitters?
I think she told us that they...
Not with our beacon system or whatever that is that they're trying to read, not without going ahead and buying the software program, the antennas and all that to activate these views. I'm speaking out of turn, that's my guess.
And if we decide to have a workshop on that, I'd be happy to elaborate a little bit more, some more detail. Going back with beacon system, which is Badger, or Progressive, with Ferguson, which is really what needs to happen. And just so we can catch up to what's out there nowadays.
No.
I support a workshop ASAP. Move to approve.
Well, you don't need it.
This
is just a review.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, you're right. Thank you.
the concern I have with it is really, I mean, if you break it down by unit price, we're spending $127 and change to do that. And we could be investing that money into a whole system, into a whole new meter. And we're digging up dirt, we're going in there, and we're replacing parts instead of the units. And that's that's more costly down the road, because we're gonna go back to that location eventually. And so, that's the way I look at it. I'm just saying, I mean, I understand you need it, that's what you have in place, you need to buy it to make it work, I totally get that, but...
How come 15 isn't consider and approve expenditures?
No, we took that away because they've already spent the money. There's nothing to consider.
Oh, that's the meeting I missed. Okay.
Executive session won't take long.
Okay, number 16, executive session permitted by the Open Meetings Act, VTCA Government Code Section 551001, under Section 551071, consult with an attorney. A, discussion on legal matters with counsel concerning 7200 Property Boulevard. B, discussion on 9.6 plus acres of land. Do we have a move to go into executive session?
So moved.
Second, all approve?
Aye.
Alex?
Okay, we're going into executive session let's take a 5-minute break and go into executive... 3 minute break and go into executive session at, I don't know, 7:08, I can't add, Al. Okay. Okay, motion to come out of executive session?
So moved.
So moved.
Okay, all approve? Okay, at 7:27.
I think you have to go through each one.
And then we gotta, don't we have to,
Yeah, just
motion
proceed as directed.
Okay, a motion to proceed as direct. Everybody in favor? Aye. Okay, that's it.